I'm Jason Lee, and you are tuned in to Tricky Talk.
Yeah! Who hits it low into the corner? Mass Wood, who gets it back here through Gibbs. Yeah! Towards the back post. Yes! In! Igor Jesus! Back post.
Hello and welcome along to the Tricky Talks podcast. The season is nearly here, guys. We're almost on game week 1 against Leeds United. The whole gang are here to join in our match preview. So hi, Chels, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm excited. I cannot wait for Saturday. Bring it on.
Yeah, I should clarify, it is our first dedicated match preview episode, and we've got a few new things lined up, haven't we, Kate?
We have indeed, yes, to kick off this new season, which now we're just all so buzzing for. We're just so excited. Everyone I speak to is like, I can't wait till Saturday. So yeah, can't wait till Saturday.
Yeah, and last but not least, Mollo is here as well, who just before press record informed me and Chels that he is likely to be absolutely wasted come Leeds kick-off time, because it's the first game of the season.
By that you mean I'm going to partake in some pre-match celebrations and nibbles. I'm far too responsible to be like that at a football stadium.
I didn't think you were going to say that, Simon.
Yeah, I have to speak it like it is, Chels, of course. Why not?
I thought you were going to say he was eating Doritos. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Oh yeah, and he's eating Doritos.
Yeah, I am planning on visiting 2 separate hostelries before the game, which is very unusual for me. So
am I, and then another 2, and then another 2, and then another 2 by the sounds of it.
Right, coming up on the show this week, we're going to kick off in a moment with a quiz. Then Mollo's going to talk to us about the historical matchup against Leeds. We're going to go through, hopefully, an opposition player to watch, and we're going to share with you our predicted lineups for the game, followed by a fan or the tricky question of the week submitted to us by a Forest fan. So let's start off, shall we, Kate, with a quiz question. What have you got for us this week, please?
Okay, so in 2012, Forest beat Leeds 7-3 at Ellen Road. In that iconic game, I want you to tell me who scored the goals for Forest.
Well, I do remember that game. I was listening to it I was listening to the BBC Radio Nottingham commentary in the lounge, and I had my headphones on. And due to the frequency of the goals, you can imagine how the other household members could not watch television because of the noise that was going on as the goals were going in. But yeah, let's part that one. I think, Mollo, you'll probably get it, won't you? I would imagine.
Might have a rough inkling. We've got certainly a large proportion of the goals.
Well, there is, yes.
We shall address the answer at the end of the show, shan't we, Kate? That's a good start to the quiz questions this week.
Thank you very much.
Straight back onto you, Mollo. So, as I said, we're playing Leeds, opening game of the season, and you're going to cover this topic each and every week. Whoever our opponent is, whether it's home or away, you're going to give some historical look back against our opponent and cover a particular match. So, what have you got for us this week? Bearing in mind it's Leeds at home.
I avoided the obvious, which was obviously the one that we need to try and figure out the goal scorers for, because a lot of people remember that. And not to show how old I am, didn't include the semi-final of the League Cup back under Cloughie. I went for a very left field one to start the season. And the reason is because it was almost like a sign of things to come. Now, bearing in mind I'm the guy that says pre-season means nothing, and you might know where I'm going with this. So the very start of the Premier League, just before it was due to start, Leeds United had won the previous season's what was then First Division, and they were preparing for their first go in Europe for a very long time, obviously because we've been banned for quite a long time as well. Thank you, Liverpool. And what occurred was they decided to put on a pre-season tournament, the Makita Trophy, at Ellen Road, which involved Forest, Leeds, Sampdoria, who were massively like big hitters at that time in Italy. They'd not long won a European trophy. I think they were in the European Cup final. They'd won the Italian Scudetto, whatever it was called, a couple of years before, and Stuttgart Kickers. And the format of the tournament was even more ridiculous than the one we had this summer, where on the Saturday there was a semi-final, Forest versus Sampdoria, Leeds versus Stuttgart, and then on the Sunday was the final and third place playoff. So back in those days, we didn't have the internet and Airbnb and all that malarkey. So we set off to Leeds in, I think, how old I'd been, about 18, whatever, in my mate's beat-up Ford Fiesta. and we went to the Leeds Ellen Road, nowhere to stay. And weirdly, the obvious thing to do would be to come home after the game and go back the next day. But we decided that we'll just sleep somewhere in the car or whatever. And what I remember most about the game was our brand new central defensive partnership, because Des Walker had just gone to Italy to play for Sampdoria. So he actually played his first game against us. And we had Carl Tyler alongside Steve Chettle. Now, anyone of a certain age, when you talk about combinations, that is a combination that was destined never to work, I think we'd agree. Two very similar type of centre-back, one significantly better than the other, to be fair. Steve Chettle's a genuine club legend. And we had zero pace in that centre-back partnership, and Sampdoria took us apart. And we lost 2-0. And I remember that this bold fella absolutely destroyed us. And it turned out to be Lombardo, who obviously had an amazing career and ended up in England. So that is my visit to Ellen Road flashback. It doesn't even involve playing Leeds United, because we lost, they won, and we played Stuttgart and lost that as well on the Sunday. And we looked extremely open at the back. And that was almost, if you like, a forerunner to how the season was to unfold in Cloughey's last season, when we obviously got relegated and dropped out of the Premier League. So it was still an incredibly entertaining weekend. We ended up staying in a house in Headingley with about 17 other students, because we bumped into someone who I'd known from school. And the stories I can't even tell on here, but it was an absolutely fantastic evening. And my favourite visit to Ellen Road, even though we didn't even play Leeds and we didn't win, outside of going to an amazing gig there back in the day, see Happy Mondays and Northside. So if you're expecting
I was going to say, what were the scores of the games?
We lost 2-0 to Sampdoria and 1-0 to Stuttgart Kickers. And if I remember rightly, Leeds lost on penalties, I think, to Sampdoria. I think, if I remember rightly. So, and Leeds had quite a good, they were a good side back then. And we had like, I forget how many thousand, we had like about 3,000 or 4,000 fans in one section, because obviously there's 4 sets of fans. And Forest fans were very much supporting whoever Leeds played. So it was a very good weekend. So I'll be less left field in future, but I just thought I'd throw that one out there. There's probably 3,000 or 4,000 other Forest fans who also vaguely remember that weekend. I mean, vaguely.
Yeah.
It was that kind of a weekend. And one of my little memories is we ended up at what is reportedly the longest bar in England. I don't mean biggest pub, but longest bar. Stood there ordering drinks, as you do. And it was the same day Linford Christie won the gold medal at the Barcelona Olympics. We were in this house, crammed in around this TV as part of our going out celebrations. It was just one of those things that only football fans do, stupid, crazy, disorganised weekend that ended up being absolutely mega, even though we lost both games.
So this is something that you're going to be doing each and every week in our match previews, isn't it, Mollo, in terms of looking back at a particular game against that week's opponent and drawing on your experiences of following Forest either to that stadium or facing them at the City Ground?
Yeah. Obviously, in future, as we head towards away games and whatnot, I'll be focusing on the opponent and a specific game with them. If I had have picked a game, it was going to be the 7-3, I have to say. One particular player who I won't name at the moment, greatest moment.
Excellent, thanks for that.
So,
we'll
look forward. Remember that Makita tournament? Feel free to let your experiences be shared.
Yeah, excellent stuff.
Sampdoria's a blast from the past for me. Just like, yeah.
What are you, sorry? Sampdoria, did you say?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yes. Just, it was, like you say, they were a really talked about team, weren't they? At one
top side back then.
And yet I've not heard about them.
Eriksson was manager. If only I'd have known what was to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a shame Des Walker never really settled at Sampdoria, because we were sad to lose him at Forest, of course, and couldn't begrudge him a move abroad, but he never really settled, did he? And came back to Sheffield Wednesday in the end.
Yeah, I think that was Sven-Göran Eriksson. Again, we should have seen what was coming with England. In his wisdom, played him as a left-back. Which, as brilliant as Des was as a central defender, I can't imagine he was a massively effective left back. The best centre half we've ever had at Forest, by most people's opinions. And he was, Sheffield Wednesday rated him as an absolute legend. It always breaks my heart that he played slightly more games for Sheffield Wednesday than he did for us.
Anyway, More of that next week. So in the meantime, though, we're going to focus now on the actual Leeds game, and we're not going to do a specific match preview as such, aren't we, where the game can be won or lost, because there are plenty of places where you can read or listen to that information. But what we are going to do, Kate, is we're going to talk about a particular Leeds player that is one to watch. Now, this could be any player, can't it? It could be a star player, it could be a youngster, it could be somebody who's coming back from injury. So it could be absolutely anybody. So who is the Leeds player that you've earmarked as the one to watch this week for all Forest fans?
I don't know if it's the one to watch or the one to to pile in on from the stands, but I've gone for Bogle.
Ooh.
Oh, I know. I was looking down them all, and the one that got the biggest reaction from me was Bogle. I was like, oh no, because obviously previous clubs include Derby, Sheffield United, and then he had the frickin' audacity to score his first Premier League goal against us last season at that dreadful day at Ellen Road. And I just want bad things to happen to him on Saturday. In footballing terms, like, I want us to really, win those battles, win those duels. I want to play him off the pitch because I don't like him. He aggravates me. I believe he's just signed a extension to his contract today as well. I think that was in Farke's press conference. So he's going to be really loving life and thinking he's the big I am. So that is my one to watch. Come on, Forest. Let's put him back in his box, be it Callum, be it Ndoye, whoever. Let's all have a bit of a niggle at Bogle. Niggle at Bogle, that's good, isn't it?
Can you imagine Kate just like coming on the pitch, 2-foot challenge?
Yes!
Get him off.
So that was the one I earmarked.
In Leeds are full of new players this season. They've had a really good pre-season, I think. Actually, just looking at their results earlier, they started off on a tour of the US, losing 3-2 to Wrexham. But ever since then, they seem to have hit a bit of form. And again, I acknowledge it's only pre-season, but they beat Sunderland 1-0. They beat Liverpool 4-2. They beat Red Bull Leipzig 2-0. They drew 1-1 with Man United, and they beat Berg 4-0. So they're in a bit of form at the moment. From what reading between the lines, it's not going to be an easy game. It's good that they strike me as being a very, very dangerous team coming in with nothing to lose. Now, obviously, Forest will focus on their own game and their own lineup. This is where we want to start thinking about the game from a Forest perspective. Chelsea, we've each of us submitted a lineup that we think Glasner will, and I'm going to pop yours up on the screen now. If you'd quickly like to talk through your lineup and the formation and why you've gone with the players that you have.
Yeah, obviously Sells in goal. To me, there's no other option. I obviously looking at the back, kind of the back five as such. So obviously Milenkovic, strongest centre back. So I've put him in the middle. Obviously Murillo on the left, and then Diamonde on the right. That's how I think it will kind of be. Obviously with Aina and Williams just pushing forward. I know Williams can either play like left back or right back, but obviously Aina's there, so he's much more comfortable in the right. So that's why I've put Williams on the left. Obviously Sangari is a number 6, more of like the defensive midfielder. I have put McAtee. I know obviously me and Kate spoke a lot about McAtee in the last pod. I really want him to just come on the pitch and just shine. I really do. Just being able to drive the ball forward in midfield, not letting it get too overrun. And I really do want to see him shine. He was the one that I was a bit unsure about. I was either going to be him or Schlager that I was going to put in, and I did go for McAtee. Obviously, then got like Gibbs White and Ndoye obviously acting, more forwards, like driving that through. And then Jesus, I just feel like they're able to supply him with that. Him being in the box where he can. I think, like I said before, he's just going to, I hope and I do feel like he is going to shine more this season. And that's why I've put him over Wood when I looked at both of them. It was a tough decision to make when I was doing it, but I do think Jesus does slightly, pip Wood at the moment. So that's what I've gone for.
Excellent. Any thoughts, guys, on Chelsea's lineup?
It's exactly the same as what I think he's going to.
Yeah, Mollo loves it.
Yeah, I know. Mine was up there as well. But I think the reason I've gone for Jesus isn't because I think he's a better player, etc. I just think he's not quite there yet, fully fit, is he, after everything that's gone on in the last 6 months. I think there's a reason. I'm going to say you can't read too much into pre-season in terms of form, but also the side he put out against Brest seemed to be the second string, mostly with a couple of players trying to get good minutes under their belt, and I suspect Wood was possibly one of them, and Callum Hudson-Odoi was possibly another. Schlager I don't know about, because if we're talking about that lineup, it looked very weak physically in midfield, and that's what would worry me. But we shall see. But we have got that insurance at the back of what looks on paper to be fabulous back three.
So your lineup's on the screen at the moment for those that are watching, and like you said earlier, it pretty much matches Chelsea's, but you've got Gibbs White and Ndoye the other way round. Any particular reason for that?
More, and I don't know if it's reversed it because you're showing it on the screen, but on mine it's showing Gibbs White playing the left 10, which is where I would have him. But there'll be a lot of movement between the two, whoever plays there, but the two, I suspect it'll be the two of them. It could be McAtee and it could be Schlager in midfield. I just don't know. Whatever he picks, we'll see. I don't know. Leeds are one of those niggly, hard-working, high energy teams, aren't they? And I just worry if McAtee shines, if he plays on Saturday, that's a fantastic sign for the rest of the season, because there's not many teams that are more energetic and in your face than Wolves at the moment, are there? So that's it. I just think the way he's played in pre-season, the balance, the shape he likes, that's, I suspect, what he'll do. And that also means you've got Murillo and Williams and Gibbs White when he's tracking back, making sure that irritating ex-sheep idiot doesn't hurt us this year like he did last year, as Kate has highlighted. So I quite like the look of what we've got on that side of the pitch defensively.
Yeah, I'm looking at the other side actually and thinking the left side looks really solid, and if Leeds are going to have any success, it's going to be perhaps on the right-hand side or their left, where you've got Aina and Diomande, who perhaps have not played together in terms of minutes for very long, where Leeds might perhaps look to expose the lack of partnership, if you like, between those two, perhaps. Okay, we're going to pop yours up on the screen now, Kate, as well. So did you want to talk through your lineup? Because I know that you have got something slightly different. That's up on the screen now.
So yeah, I've got Jesus in the other 10 role, which is something that I have seen him try in pre-season, and it interests me. I wonder if it's something that he's thinking of doing. I think he's potentially capable of it. I have gone with Wood. I know it's our dearly departed Taiwo, but he's been given, the number 9 shirt, hasn't he, this week? And I wonder if that's significant. I wonder if that is a vote of confidence. I could be wrong, but it just sort of said something to me. And I just want to, I don't know, nobody knows, what he's going to go with, but it just interests me as a concept, having those two in the 10 and Wood up front. And hopefully, if the press conference is to be believed, there is 2 players incoming, which we are assuming are going to be a wing-back and a striker. So again, that maybe leaves space for Wood to in and out a little bit. And he did also, I think, say that he's wanting to keep Callum Owendo, didn't he? Although obviously he's not in my lineup. But yeah, that was, I think that was the major thing for me, was just potentially putting Jesus in that second 10 role and seeing if he'd go with that and how that might work was my thinking.
Something else you've done, I'm not sure whether this was intentional or not, but you've got Milenkovic and Diomande different to Mollo and Chelsea, in terms of you've got Milenkovic on the right of that back three, and Diomande in the middle. Was that intentional? Any reasoning behind that, or is it just cosmetic?
So initially, it wasn't necessarily intentional, but then when I looked at it and what you said about there being a bit more of a weakness on that side, I thought maybe I'll leave it there and just see if anybody notices and asks about it, and then it just provokes the question, doesn't it?
It does.
Because obviously, because obviously, he is. We spoke about it, in the previous show, that he can be an unsung hero, but he is solid as a rock. So yeah, I decided to leave it.
Okay, right. I'm going to pop mine up on the screen now. I don't think there are going to be too many surprises, but I do want to talk about one particular player, and that is Schlager, like UK, I've got him in that central midfield rather than McAtee. And I know he played against Brest last weekend, where that was mainly a team made up of second stringers, if you like. I don't think there were any first teamers that played, but I just felt he needed the minutes to get acclimatised to the team and the way they play and his teammates. So I didn't read too much into that in terms of him being regarded as a second teamer. And I would certainly throw him in at the deep end in terms of playing against Leeds, who could be, in order to try and match some physicality. Mollo, I think you raised it, didn't you, earlier? Leeds' physicality does concern me a little bit. And I think with those two in the middle of the park, him and Sangare would offer that, would try and counter that, if you like. So that's why I went for Schlager. But other than that, there are no surprises. And I've gone with Jesus up front. I don't think he's done anything to suggest he won't start up front for this particular game. How long that will remain the case obviously depends on Wood and any particular strikers that might get signed. But the other player I wanted to talk about was Dan Ndoye as well, who seems quite accustomed to playing in one of those number 10 roles. And he certainly rewarded the manager with a goal against Leverkusen. Anyone want to offer thoughts in terms of Dan Ndoye's role? Do you think that would suit him, Mollo? I know you've had an opinion about him in the past.
Yeah, I think I've gone on record as saying, didn't I, numerous times last year that he's a player that will come good. And a year from, I think last September, October time, I was saying a year from now we'll be saying, thank goodness we've got. No, I think it was later in the season. We'll be saying, let's hope we keep Dan Ndoye. He's just shown, didn't he? We've seen flashes of it before. We've seen quite a bit of it for Switzerland, and he's just a very dangerous player. He's really quick. He doesn't always show it, but when he gets the chance, he's really quick, and he does seem to know where the goal is, or he seems to be able to score goals, should I say, even though he misses one or two. So it appears, at least, because it's a fresh slate, isn't it, for everyone? It appears at least that, because my feeling, I think we picked the team, not what we would pick, but what we think Oliver Glasner's going to pick. I think Glasner seems to like him. And with what you said about Schlager, my only reason for not putting Schlager in was because he played the whole of that game as well. He didn't bring him off after 60, 70 minutes either. And it surprised me. And it made me think he perhaps wouldn't be starting because Dominguez and him played the whole of the game with that role, didn't they? And he's a player that knows that role. It's not like he needs to learn the role. So I don't know. Yeah, we're second guessing the manager, aren't we? But yeah, I'd be interesting to see if Dan Ndoye can reproduce the way he has been for Switzerland and so far in pre-season.
Yeah, looking at that formation, the left-hand side, Murillo, Williams, Gibbs-White looks quite formidable, doesn't it? And quite potent. Whereas you look at that little triangle of players, Schlager, Aina and Diamonde, and think you got two new ones in there working together closely on the field. How well are they going to gel and how well are they going to settle? And it's an interesting conundrum, isn't it, in terms of, will Leeds identify that as a potential area of attack, or will they gel really quickly? They have to hit the ground running, though, those two, don't they, in terms of new players? I should say, incidentally, before we carry on, the team builder that you've all been watching is now available on our website. So anybody can go onto our website and look at the team builder page and create their own lineups, which they can then screenshot and share with your mates. So that is available on the trickytalks.com website. So I look forward to hearing and seeing some of your teams. Right. We're going to move on now to our match predictions. So, Chelsea, we'll start with you. Like I said earlier, it's not going to be an easy game. Leeds are in a bit of form. No, Forest beat Brentford on the opening day last season, but historically they don't tend to win too many opening games. How do you see the game going, and what is your prediction this week?
I'm really struggling to predict this one. I feel like it's going to be a game where it could go absolutely any way. It could end up being like 1-1 draw. It could be 2-1 win to us, 2-1 win to Leeds. It could go any way. And I think it is because I am that person. I don't take friendlies into consideration with the start of the season. I just don't. When I have done my prediction for it, and I have just gone for a 1-1 draw. That's what I've gone for. I just can't. I cannot predict this one. I'm really struggling with it, and I've just gone right straight off 1-1 done. Don't want it to be that. Enough. Don't want it that way. But
Kate, your match predictions.
I'm going 3-1 Forest. Yeah, I am. I think we'll win this game.
Kate's not scared. I am.
I do. I think we'll win this game, and I think we'll win well. So I'm all in for this one. It's Tuesday that bothers me. I don't know why. And that makes absolutely no sense at all, does it? But that's just how I feel. And I've gone 3-1 because I think it might be close, but I think once we get the lead, I think we'll be good for it. And I think we might score a late third goal. That's what I'm saying. You heard it here first.
Mollo, what's your score prediction?
Okay, I think we're going to be very, very hard to score against as the season wears on. But I think you touched upon it, Simon. A couple of new players, totally new formation. So I think we might concede. It could be a mistake or a misunderstanding, or maybe even some brilliance by Bogle, but I really hope not to. And I've gone 1-1. And the other reason I've gone 1-1 is my stupid superstition. Every time we win the first game of the season in the Premier League, we then seem to go and have crap seasons. I remember coming out, beating Liverpool 1-0 at home and thinking, and Cloughy in his interview saying, I'd quite like to win the league this year, and instead we dropped out of it. So I'm going 1-1, and I kind of hope I'm wrong, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. And if we look solid, and if Diamandi can settle in really quickly alongside the two fantastic centre-backs he's already got and show what he's about to add to it, I think it makes for a very, very exciting season. I know it sounds, I'm talking about the defence, but that's what great teams are built on, isn't it? So we shall see. 1-1.
I'm going to go for 2-2 in that I know I said earlier Leeds have been on some really good form during pre-season, and I know pre-season doesn't mean anything in the whole scheme of things, and Forest have proved that in the past, but I don't think you can lose that sort of form just overnight like that. I think they're going to come out, and I think Leeds are going to score, but equally I think Forest are potent enough to score a couple themselves. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a high score draw, and I'm going to go for 2-2. So much like Chelsea, I'm erring on the pessimistic side of the scoreline, I think. But listen, at the end of the day, any Forest win will be gratefully received, I think.
Yes. It will.
Okay.
Just don't lose it, it's key, I think, because we've got a tough run of fixtures at the start. Get a point on board. New guys settle in. Also, I forgot to mention that traditional slow start under Glasner when he comes to a new team because of his system. And he hasn't even probably got the exact players he wants in the system yet. So we're still a work in progress, aren't we? So we'll see. I'm really excited for the game, really looking forward to it. Meeting up early with the lads and whatnot, it's going to be good fun. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that, if Forest don't win, and they do get off to that slow start, especially as under a new manager, that not to panic, because it is going to be a long season. I know historically it is going to be a difficult start with Leeds and then Liverpool, and you've got Villa on the horizon as well. So at least win your home games and Spurs to get some results on the board. Spurs look like they're going to be a decent outfit this year, given the signings they made.
Pundits are predicting them sort of top 4 and 5, aren't they? Which
Yeah,
I understand why with the players they've signed, but that is a big swing from 2 seasons of being one place above relegation. It's not like it was a one-off season for them.
Yeah, and if they you're right. Signing all these players might look good on paper, but if they can't gel as a team, then that's not going to work. And Forest will find that out early, won't they, in a couple of weeks? But more of Spurs shortly. Right, we're going to move on to another new feature in Chelsea. This is one that you have got for us, and it is, would you like to share with the listeners?
Yeah, so it's the tricky question of the week. So each week we will put an Instagram story up. So you can send us in your questions that you would like us to answer. So our first tricky question of the week is: everyone as underwhelmed as I am from the lack of signings?
And that's
Kev.
that's from Kev. Thanks for your question, Kev. Mollo?
Definitely not. We've gone for quality over quantity. Obviously, I'd like to see 1 or 2 more in the building and 1 or 2 more out the building, because we've still got a bloated squad. I'm not worried that we don't know what that centre midfield is going to look like yet, and we're not going to be able to directly replace Anderson, as we know, but it's a different setup. And we're clearly, assuming Murillo's fully fit for Saturday, we're starting with an extremely strong back 3. So whoever plays up front for Leeds, Calvert-Lewin, whoever it might be, they're going to have their work cut out to find their own, to dominate that part of the pitch for sure, especially if Diamandi settles in really well. So I'm not worried about the lack of signings. we're probably going to get one or two more in, I'm sure. But if we go with what we've got now, we've still got a decent sized squad, and there's not massive weaknesses in the squad apart from arguably in the goalkeeping position. If you don't have total confidence in what happens if Sells gets injured, and the fact we've let a striker go, a striker who, but for fitness problems, is a very good Premier League striker, suggests there's something in the pipeline. He's interviewed today on Sky, suggested there's things in the pipeline. So we shall see. I'm not at all worried. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I think he said it himself. He wants quality players in. There's two more that he wants. I've alluded to it already. We know that would be a wing back and a striker. If we complete those signings, then I think we've every reason to be really happy with the transfer window. The only thing that slightly bothered me was his weird Christmas quote. Did you hear it? Did you hear his press conference? So he said, you don't always get what you want for Christmas. You don't always get what's top of your Christmas list.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you get your second or third choice or something. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something along those lines.
You go for your second. If you don't get your second, you go for the so. But that doesn't worry me because his choices will be, there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of top players around Europe, isn't there, around the world. So that didn't worry me unless there was... Oh, we don't know what that list is, do we? But yeah.
No, but I liked the fact that he was very clear about that. We want quality players and it's not about numbers. I think he said that too, didn't he? So, and we've got a little bit of time yet. We are classic for doing things towards the end of the window. So I'm not concerned, and I do like what we've brought in so far. I think both Diamonde and Schlager are really, really promising from what I've seen of them. So, that's good as well. I mean, the real test obviously starts on Saturday, but at the moment, no, I wouldn't say I'm underwhelmed. I guess if the transfer window closes and those two signings don't come in, then that question certainly becomes more prevalent, I guess. Yeah.
One of the other things I picked up from his press conference today, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he mention about wanting players with Champions League experience and international caps? Is that a quote I read correctly on BBC Nottingham?
So he said that the players we've brought in so far have that. Is what he said.
All right. And did he say something about wanting similar profile of players?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like they've got their eyes on quality, necessarily the quantity.
Yeah.
But, like you guys, I'm not worried. Forest traditionally are busy at the end of the window, aren't they? I find it fascinating that it's gone so quiet on the likes of Bergvall from Spurs. It's gone quiet on Reed from Feyenoord, two players that were heavily linked earlier in the transfer window. You've got absolutely nothing in the media at the moment about those two players. So I wouldn't be surprised if one or both of those get resurrected. But one player who has been linked in that wing-back role is Dodo from Fiorentina, which I
saw that.
I like the look of. And that would be a rare sighting, wouldn't it, of a Dodo in the UK?
Even if we don't sign him, it was worth it just for that, wasn't it, Simon?
It was, yeah. I don't care whether they sign him now. I managed to get that gag in there.
Oh, that joke was dead. Dead as a...
Extinct.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Kev's question, Chelsea?
At the moment, because obviously, the transfer window is not finished yet, so I'm not underwhelmed as such yet. I think the only thing that worries me is obviously not having another striker, and I think as well because with losing Anderson, it was such a big hole in the squad, wasn't it, losing Anderson? And I think that's probably why some people are feeling a bit more worried and feeling a bit more underwhelmed as such, because it was such a big player that has left. I just don't know what to make of something. Like Kate said, we are very known for leaving things till last minute with the transfer window. So I'd like to think that there is something in the pipeline. I think I expected more players coming in, given that Glasner is now our manager. I thought that was going to attract more in more quickly. But at the moment, I'm not underwhelmed because the window is still open. But if we don't make any more signings, then I will be underwhelmed.
It sounds like Kev is in the minority at the minute. But thanks for your question, Kev. Much appreciated. And if anybody else wants to submit a question in future for a future show, then keep an eye out for our post, like Chelsea said, on Instagram, where we'll pop up the little graphic you saw earlier and invite questions for you to submit and for us to discuss on the show. Right. And we're circling back nicely to the quiz question, Kate. We've come full circle. So would you like to remind everybody of the question? I know Mollo's probably got the answers already jotted down on his little bit of paper. But
So in 2012, Forest beat Leeds 7-3 in what has become an iconic game for us at Elland Road. Who scored the goals for Forest? Chelsea, let's go to you first.
No, don't come to me.
No, just because, I mean, it was in your lifetime, right?
Yeah, it was in my lifetime, but I just can't remember that far back.
Okay, I just wondered
I'm
if you
not
could
like
have a
saying
guess.
I was, I'm old, but I can't remember that far.
I just wondered if you could have a guess at any of them before I let Mollo and Simon loose, because they're going to know this.
Anyone who knows me, my memory is so poor, and I just can't even think back then. I'm trying to think how old I was. 14. Yeah, 14.
I think it's a game that earned the player who starred in that game is what was then a Premiership move.
Yeah, absolutely. Go on then, Simon.
Yeah.
I think it was arguably his best ever game, wasn't it, for Forest?
You do the easy one then,
So,
Simon, and then Mollo can do the others.
Gareth McCleary got a hat-trick.
Nah.
Or did he even score 4? He scored. Yeah, he did score 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adlen Guediora scored the first.
No, let Mollo do the other two.
Oh,
That's what
sorry.
I remembered.
So,
Yeah,
McCleary got 4.
Adeline Guardiola, I can't say his name now, scored an absolute banger, didn't he?
The first one, yeah.
Absolute. And the other ones, took me a moment to try and remember because we had somebody else scored 2, as I remember. And I was trying to think, who scored 2? And then it just, Blackstock, must have been.
Yes!
Yeah.
There you go. So, 4 goals for Gareth McCleary, 1 goal for Adeline Guardiola, and 2 goals for Dexter Blackstock.
And we were losing in about 5 minutes as well, weren't we? I can remember everyone had just got in and it was like, no.
Yeah.
The thing is, in isolation, that sounds amazing. And some of those goal scorers were good players in the end. But we were fighting relegation, and that was Steve Cottrell's kind of finest moment, wasn't it? Where he managed to put together a team with the Wes Morgan money and the Bamford money, who had never even played for us. He went out and got players like, what was his name? Elikobi and stuff like that. And we had a little run and managed to stay up, didn't we? Because we were in serious danger of going down with financial mess we got ourselves into again.
I do remember the goals were going in left, right and centre in that game. And I've just popped it up on my phone to see when those minutes were actually scored. And Chelsea, this will be quite remarkable for you who doesn't remember. But Mollo was right. Leeds went 1-0 up after 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Guediora equalised with that banger on 8 minutes. And then there's a relatively quiet period of no goals where Gareth McCleary put Forest in front 2-1 at the break with an injury time goal in the first half. But it all literally kicked off in the second half because went 52 minutes, Leeds 1, Forest 3, 53 minutes, Leeds 2, Forest 3, 55 minutes, Leeds equalised 3-3, 60 minutes it went 5-3, 71 6-3 and 81 7-3. So you had basically 4 goals in 4 minutes at the beginning of the second half.
When it went to 3-0, we were all like, oh man, blown it from being 3-1 up. Insane. And like I say, do you know what's funny, Chelsea? I don't know if you remember this. He got his Premiership move to Reading. It's mad, isn't it?
God.
No, fair play. How times change, as we know. Country and whatnot this season. So, that was incredible. Just one of those rare games you get where everything's flying in, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was studying in Scarborough at the time of the game, and I remember being so excited about it that the day after the game, I put my Forest shirt on and walked through the centre of Scarborough because everybo's a Leeds fan in Scarborough and people were literally booing me as I walked down centre, and I'm like that. Yeah.
So Chris scored 5 goals in 29 minutes, and McCleary's 4 goals came in 45 plus 2, 56, 60 and 71. So he got a 4 goals in just under half an hour. Awesome. Wow. What a game. I'll settle for that on Saturday, I have to say. And it's our first 3 p.m. kickoff in an absolute age, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, dangerous though.
When was the last 3 p.m. kickoff? There's another quiz question.
Was it like October or home game?
Yeah.
I'm sure it was like October, November.
Yeah, was it Spurs?
To be fair, a lot of that was because of Europe, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
They've all started moving around, haven't they, already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that happens next season.
Love that quiz question, Kate. Thanks for that. So again, that's something that we'll be kicking off our preview show with every week with a question related to that week's opponent. So we're approaching the end of the show. Anyone got anything else? I know, Chelsea, you wanted to bring up something.
Yeah, it was just about FPL. Make sure everyone's done their teams. I know if Mollo's done his team, then that means everyone should have done his team by now. So, yeah, make sure your teams are in. We have got a Tricky Talks podcast league, which I am going to put on our Instagram again, the code for it. So make sure you join our league. And, yeah, I can't wait for FPL, can't wait for the season. And, yeah, just join our league. It's great.
And Simon can't cheat this year because we all know about lazy FPL.
Exactly. Yeah, unless you're really good, don't join our league. I just want average and below.
So lazy FPL is good for hints and tips. It doesn't tell you who you should be selecting in your team. That's not what they do. They give you information on, best strategies. They give you information on data. It's very data driven. So if you have a team with, for example, a favourable fixture run, then lazy FPL will point that out and think about and suggest you target those kind of
attack
teams.
The fixture, Simon. That's the phrase. Attack the fixtures.
Attack the fixtures is very much a philosophy that I'm in favour of. So I will attack the fixtures for the first 5 game weeks.
I love that.
Where was that from?
Yeah.
The prof.
Lazy FPL.
I love that someone was like, oh no, lazy FPL just gives you, like the hints of truth. I picked my own team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am good still.
I read my first newsletter and thought, right, I'm starting my team again now.
Have you all subscribed to Lazy FPL then? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, no,
I had another little
I've got
tinker this afternoon, and now I'm a little bit worried that I've over-tinkered, so I need to look at it again.
No, I haven't subscribed yet. I've followed on Instagram, but then I need to subscribe. So that's what
I
I'm
think
going to
the
do
beauty of the early part of the season is you never know who's going to have one of those seasons, do you?
No.
A couple of years ago, we had Chris Wood. Last season, obviously a top player, but Fernandez had that season. I think Alf, what am I saying? Ireland might have an off season. You just don't know, or pick up an injury. It's just early in the season, you just don't know. I remember one of my friends had Reinders in at the start of last season. We were like, oh, you genius. That was all he did, wasn't it? It was that first game, basically.
Yeah.
Can I ask you one question? How many Forest players do you have in your team?
Always 3.
Me 3.
Loyalty. Got to be loyal.
You don't want to give it away, look.
No, I shall say, as it stands, I've got none in my team. Because this Kate, you got 2. Who have you all got in your teams then? I'm interested to know.
Williams and Jesus, I bet.
What, me?
Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
That's a yes.
I'll say who I've got. I've got Williams, Jesus, Gibbs White.
Ooh.
That's who I've gone for. So far, I might tinker it.
Were you not paying attention to the prof?
No, I wasn't, but I'd already done it. And then he was talking about it, and I was like, oh, and he was like, no, you can keep with what you've got. And then I'm like, do I? And I keep looking, and then I just keep looking at my budget, and I think I can't make this work. And it was so difficult to make it work in the first place.
I haven't got Jesus in my team.
I did, and I've taken him out.
Well, having persuaded the prof that he's a...
Yeah.
You've mugged him right off there, Simon. You're like, yeah, have Jesus.
The thing was, he did a team preview pod, a lazy FPL team preview pod, and he talked about Jesus with one of his colleagues, and pretty much echoed what we talked about on our pod. So he certainly used that content. He did also confirm that Gibbs White was too expensive as well, which again was something that he highlighted on our pod, and pretty much echoed of the defenders, Nico Williams is the one to have. And I'll certainly be looking to bring Nico Williams in after I use my wild card in game week. After game week 5, so there's a little tip for you.
Write that down.
So it's a big, long international break after game week 5. So at that point, you can pretty much think, well, the World Cup players will be back, teams will be established. You know which players are going to be playing in the team regularly, as opposed to the unknown going into game week 1. So there'll be a little bit of a few patterns there to work with. So that's why I'm going for a wild card early, and certainly Nico Williams will be looking long-term to get him in, because I think he's going to thrive under Glasner's system for sure.
Potentially. Although, dare I say, Nets has put his hand up, hasn't he? If Nico has not Nico has off days, to be fair, but if Nico perhaps doesn't hit the heights of last season, Nets is the perfect wing-back, isn't he? I don't mean that horribly, because he's defensively a little bit. But with that insurance, he could be ideal. I can see Nico going to right back as well if we don't sign someone. Really bothers me, though, that I meant to raise this. I'm sorry. This is FPL related as well as the game. Have you seen how much work compared to normal Ola Aina's been doing in the summer? It says everything, doesn't it? because all I know is a fabulous athlete, fabulous player, does tend to gas out a little bit in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't do that in Oliver Glasner's formation, way he plays, or you're going to get taken off quite a lot, aren't you, if that happens. And I wonder if he's decided, you know, in amongst all his joviality, that for the first summer in his career, he's actually kept himself fit and got fit, hasn't he, so to speak. Not that he would ever be unfit by our standards.
No. Yeah.
I made me laugh when he says, I like food and I'll just get fat in the summer. I'm thinking, that's not quite the same as my summer and what have you. But yeah, I wonder if there's because for all the joviality, he's a very, very serious footballer, isn't he, on the pitch, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's thinking, right, because he's got all the other tools to be the perfect wing back, hasn't he? With his amazing pace, his ability to get forward, one-on-one defending is second to none. But sometimes his one-on-one defending didn't happen because he was struggling to get back in the last 20 minutes, wasn't he? I wonder if that's something. So FPL-wise, he might be a surprise.
I wonder if he's going to wear a pair of shorts that actually fit this season as well.
No, what's the point?
No, good.
But anything else from you, Mollo, whilst you're on?
No, just can't wait and look forward to it.
And finally, anything from you, Kate?
No, same really. Just can't wait to get there and you know, let's crack on with this season.
Absolutely. And that's it for a preview show. We'll be back next week with a review of the aforementioned Leeds game, plus a kind of a mini look forward to the Carabao Cup on Tuesday. In the meantime, thanks everyone for listening and watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on Spotify or on YouTube. And then we'll talk to you again real soon.